Did you know that one of the richest and most strategic men in history appears in the Bible? His name was Abraham. And his wealth did not come from inheritance, stock markets, political power, or lucky timing. It came from covenant alignment. Long before modern financial systems existed, before economic theories and global markets, the foundations of sustainable prosperity were already being demonstrated in the book of Genesis. Abraham is described as very rich in livestock, silver, and gold. But what makes his story extraordinary is not merely the volume of his wealth, it's the stability of it. His prosperity survived famine, relocation, war, internal conflict, and generational transition. That kind of wealth is not accidental. It is principled. Today we are going to break down the 8 wealth principles we learned from Abraham. These principles are not outdated religious ideas. They are strategic foundations that still apply in modern finance, entrepreneurship, leadership, and personal growth. And stay until the end, because the final principle may be the difference between having money and having prosperity with purpose. 1. Abraham obeyed before seeing results. In Genesis 12, Abraham is told to leave his land, his inheritance, and everything familiar. There was no detailed plan, no financial forecast, no visible guarantees. From a purely economic standpoint, this decision looked reckless. Yet Abraham moved. Biblical wealth often begins where comfort ends. He understood that the right direction matters more than temporary security. Many people remain financially stagnant because they demand certainty before action. They wait until every number aligns perfectly before stepping forward. Abraham did not operate from paralysis. He operated from alignment. Today, obedience may look like transitioning careers when your values are compromised. It may look like starting a business that does not generate immediate profit. It may mean relocating to environments with greater opportunity. Strategic obedience is not impulsive. It is movement based on conviction. Invisible opportunities rarely reveal themselves to those who refuse to move. Prosperity grows when direction is prioritized over comfort. 2. Abraham saw wealth as a consequence, not a goal. Genesis 13 verse 2 declares Abraham was very rich. But the narrative never shows him chasing wealth as his ultimate objective. Before expanding possessions, he built altars. Before claiming territory, he reaffirmed alignment. His spiritual foundation preceded financial increase. When wealth becomes the ultimate goal, anxiety follows. Competition intensifies. Comparison consumes peace. But when wealth becomes the consequence of character and covenant, it remains balanced. Today, many people build income but lose stability. They earn more but sleep less. They accumulate assets but sacrifice relationships. Abraham's identity was not rooted in silver or livestock. If your self-worth depends on income, every downturn feels personal. But when identity is rooted in purpose, money becomes a resource, not validation. Abraham prospered because his heart was stable before his assets multiplied. True prosperity includes emotional security. 3. Abraham practiced strategic separation. Conflict arose between Abraham's herdsmen and Lot's. The land could not sustain both operations. This was a serious economic issue. Yet Abraham offered Lot first choice. From a competitive perspective, this was disadvantageous. But Abraham did not operate from scarcity. He understood that peace is an asset. Not every opportunity must be controlled. Not every advantage must be defended. Strategic separation is financial wisdom. Sometimes walking away from tension protects long-term expansion. Today, this principle applies when you decline partnerships that compromise your peace. When you step away from contracts that create instability. When you prioritize integrity over control. Abraham trusted that blessing was not tied to territory, but to alignment. Confidence in source creates freedom in negotiation. 4. Abraham invested in the right alliances. Genesis 14 reveals Abraham had 318 trained men born in his household. That indicates structure, organization, preparation, and leadership development. Abraham did not build wealth alone. He developed people. When Lot was captured, Abraham did not react impulsively. He mobilized prepared resources. That preparation required long-term vision. Today, sustainable prosperity demands strong alliances. You cannot grow financially while surrounded by individuals who lack discipline, integrity, or ambition. Right relationships multiply opportunity. Wrong relationships multiply problems. Mentorship, accountability, collaboration. These are wealth accelerators. Abraham understood that human capital is as valuable as material capital. Investing in people is strategic wealth building. If these principles are already shifting your perspective, comment Covenant Prosperity below. And subscribe to the Biblical Money Code, where we apply biblical wisdom to real-world financial strategy with clarity and depth. Now let's move into the next 4 principles, because this is where Abraham protected and multiplied what he built. 5. Abraham honored God first with his resources. After rescuing Lot and recovering possessions, Abraham gave a tenth to Melchizedek before securing spoils. He honored first. This reveals order. Honor precedes expansion. Abraham publicly acknowledged that his victory was not solely the result of strategy or strength. He understood that opportunity, timing, and favor are not fully self-generated. Today, honoring God financially reflects stewardship awareness. When generosity is prioritized, greed loses control. Gratitude recalibrates ambition. Honor protects prosperity from internal corruption. Abraham's giving was not casual, it was foundational. 6. Abraham rejected wealth that compromised integrity. The king of Sodom offered Abraham the recovered goods. It was legitimate, immediate, profitable. Abraham refused. He did not want his story tied to a corrupt source. Integrity mattered more than increase. Today this principle is critical. Income that compromises reputation weakens long-term stability. Short-term profit can cost long-term credibility. Rejecting questionable partnerships protects legacy. Trust is an invisible asset that sustains visible wealth. Abraham understood that prosperity tied to the wrong source becomes fragile. Integrity preserves durability. 7. Abraham had generational vision. Abraham was promised descendants as numerous as the stars. His wealth was connected to legacy. He did not manage resources as temporary pleasure, but as generational responsibility. When you understand that you are not the final destination of what you receive, management changes. You plan long-term. You invest differently. You think beyond immediate gratification. Generational wealth requires systems, discipline, and foresight. Abraham's financial decisions were connected to future fulfillment. Biblical prosperity always looks forward. 8. Abraham maintained humility in abundance. Despite being very rich, Abraham remained dependent. He built altars repeatedly. He sought direction. Abundance can inflate ego. Humility stabilizes expansion. Financial humility means remaining teachable. Seeking counsel. Recognizing vulnerability. When pride grows, risk increases unnecessarily. Abraham never confused blessing with superiority. His humility sustained his prosperity. True wealth requires a heart capable of handling it. Abraham was not rich by accident. He obeyed when uncomfortable. He aligned before expanding. He chose peace over control. He built alliances intentionally. He honored before consuming. He rejected compromise. He thought generationally. He remained humble in abundance. These 8 principles form a comprehensive wealth framework. This is prosperity that survives famine. This is wealth that withstands conflict. This is abundance with structure. Modern finance emphasizes strategy. Biblical prosperity emphasizes character plus strategy. When character aligns with covenant, stability increases. Wealth becomes durable. Peace accompanies growth. If this teaching helped you understand how to build wealth through alignment rather than luck, subscribe to the Biblical Money Code and activate notifications so you never miss the next lesson. And comment, alignment over luck, if you are committed to building prosperity through obedience, integrity, vision, and humility. Because real wealth is not random. It is built through principles. And when character aligns with covenant, prosperity follows.